Hola chicas, lo siento. Well, especially to Catherine, who had sent an email. I had seen it and then forgotten until a little too late in class. But I am making you this video so that you are aware of what we did today. So last class you had your performance assessment, and it was just using using the imperfect to describe your creatures, and you did an excellent job on that. There wasn't a lot of instruction before the assessment, but either way, everyone was able to use a variety of verbs in the imperfect to tell about their monster with only a few days in, so that was pretty impressive, and you all did very well. Okay, that's not how every assessment will go. There kind of was an opportunity to lose any points there, but there will be opportunities to lose points on assessment, so you can expect that. Here's what we did today. Now that we've done the preterite and we've done the imperfect, we're going to use the two together, all right? And so first I gave some notes. And so the notes were either a word or a phrase, and I asked everyone to guess whether they were words or phrases that tend to be used with a preterite verb, with an imperfect verb, or with either one, okay? And if either one, there's probably some differences. There might be some meaning differences if you choose to use the preterite versus the imperfect. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is write down the black word first. We wrote down the meaning in class, and then covered up is the answer, either preterite, imperfect, or both. Okay, so the first word is siempre, and siempre means always. With the word siempre, the imperfect tends to be used. I always did this, I always did that. I always used to do this, or I always tended to do that. You never really hear siempre with a preterite. Yo siempre corrió, for example, or él siempre corrió. You would never hear that, for example. If he always ran, siempre corría. Okay, you'd use the imperfect. The next one is cuando era niño, or cuando era niña, and that's that could be either. And the reason for that is when I was young, I always used to do something, or I tended to do something. Cuando yo era niño, yo comía cereal por el desayuno. But you can also talk about something that you did a particular time when you were young. So you could say, when I was young, you talk about a particular event or a habits. So that's why the answer is both. De repente, the phrase de repente means suddenly. So what do you think? Preterite, imperfect, or both? And the answer is preterite. The next one, anoche or ayer. So anoche means last night. Didn't write this one down in class. Ayer means yesterday. So anoche or ayer. The answer is both. So you could talk about something that you did just last night. Anoche yo miré something on the TV. Okay, but you could also say the imperfect, because you could say yesterday I was doing something. And one of the uses of the imperfect is to say was doing it, like was in the middle of that action. So not just saying I did it, but I was doing it. That's why it's both. Cinco, de vez en cuando. De vez en cuando is the imperfect. De vez en cuando means from time to time. So when you see de vez en cuando, typically you're going to see an imperfect with it. You would never say from time to time, I did something, right? Okay, the next one, hace some number de semanas, días, or años. This means ago. And it could be either. you could say a preterite. Hace 3 años yo fui somewhere. But you could also say, as long as if the time was long enough ago, like hace, like años, you could say I used to do something as well, or I tended to do something throughout this 1 year. Like el año pasado yo trabajaba, I was working in Green Bay, y yo siempre iba St. Willibrod's. But I don't do that anymore. So it was a habit throughout that time. So you could also say I was, like 2 days ago, I was doing something, right? So you have some options here. All right, here's number 7. Un día, one day. And I'd say either one, just depends. Do you want to say about a particular thing you were doing, or do you want to talk about I was doing the thing? Because that's one of the uses of the imperfect. Okay, 8, mientras. Mientras means while. And you tend to use the imperfect with that. So while I was doing something, you wouldn't really say while I did something in the preterite. You would say while I was doing it, and that, well, how do you say was doing it? The imperfect. So that's kind of an easy one. Okay, the 9, el mes pasado, last month. Or you could say la semana pasada, last week. And again, it's either one. You could say last month or last week, I just plain old did something. Or you could say I was doing something again. So either one would work. Okay, 2 more. There are 11 of these. Cada means every, so cada día, cada mes, cada año. This one, if you were talking about long enough ago, like if you were using año, you could use the imperfect and say things that you used to do, or that somebody used to do. So cada año comía un pastel por su cumpleaños. So again, that's like a habit, right? Every year he would do this thing. But every day, cada día, I wouldn't say, or every day he used to do something, right? Cada día corría 3 kilómetros or something like that. But I guess if you're talking about a smaller period of time, like maybe you went somewhere for a month and every day that you were there you did something, then maybe I would use the preterite to describe that. Okay. And then the last one. The beginning of a story. The beginning of a story, you tend to see verbs like there was something, so like había, and that looks like it's imperfect. You might be describing people in the past, so like the person was tall, or the person was named this, and those are all imperfect things. So the beginning of the story tends to have a lot of imperfect, and then you actually tend to read a little bit before you would start to see your first preterite verb. And you'll notice that with lots of things that you read, as long as those things are in the past tense, written in the past. Okay, so this is your page of notes that we did today. I kind of gave you the answers to these. I'm just going a little bit fast in the interest of time. But what I had your classmates do was figure it, or guess, and then defend. Why do you think that this is preterite or imperfect? Okay. The next thing that we did in class was I passed this out. Billy y las botas. These are the lyrics of a song, and there's a little bit on the back. Okay. The song is in the past, and it's sort of a story. It's a song, but it's also a story being told. Okay. And so Every time there's a verb, I put the verb, the preterite version of it, and the imperfect version of it. Only one of them is true. Only one of them is the words to the song. And so as you're listening, you're going to circle. And what did we say that there tends to be more of at the beginning of a story? Preterite or imperfect? That's right, imperfect. And so you're probably going to circle a bunch of imperfects right off the bat, and it's going to take you a little while to circle your first preterite. It's not going to be until a little further down the page. Okay, what I've done is I have attached the video to the song for you. Your classmates have listened to this one time. They didn't get to watch the video that goes with it. All they were doing was hearing the sound and then looking at their paper. So your classmates are going to go on here and watch the video. Your first time, I'd like you to just be focused on the sound and your paper and also not be watching the video, although you can certainly go back and watch the video one more time, okay? And so all you're going to do is listen for the answer here, which one to circle, the preterite version or the imperfect version. You'll also see some of these phrases útiles. That's the title of this, by the way. Phrases útiles means useful phrases for the preterite and the imperfect. Okay? And so you'll see some that kind of go with the word. So if you look, actually, before you even listen to the song, maybe use pencil so that you could erase it if you end up being wrong, but see if you can guess some of these in advance and see if you're right without even listening to the song. All right. All right. Hope to see you on